We want to believe the powerful care. We want to think the ones with influence, wealth, status, and the ones we admire also look back at us with some measure of warmth. But this belief is not rooted in truth. It's rooted in longing. Nietzsche warned that much of what we call goodness is illusion, created by those in power to keep the rest from noticing their chains. Because true power, as he saw it, doesn't require emotional investment. It only requires leverage. And concern, that's optional. So ask yourself, when a powerful person gives you attention, what do you feel? Gratitude, validation, relief? And more importantly, why? The truth is this: most powerful people don't need to care about you. They need you to care about them. They don't need to invest in your well-being. They only need to be perceived as if they might. This isn't cruelty, it's design. Caring takes energy. Influence takes strategy. And in Nietzsche's world, most people confuse politeness with principle, and attention with respect. We don't want to believe we're alone, but believing someone is watching out for you is not the same as being watched over. And waiting to be cared for is not the same as caring for yourself. So here's the first truth: stop waiting for powerful people to choose you. They won't, unless it serves them. And once you see this clearly, your strength begins. Chapter 2. Nietzsche's view of power and morality. Nietzsche didn't believe morality was fixed. He believed it was invented and then enforced by the powerful, not to uplift society, but to protect their dominance. We're told that power should be compassionate, that leadership should be ethical, that the strong should protect the weak. But Nietzsche asked, who decided that? And more importantly, who benefits when you believe it? According to Nietzsche, power does not grow from morality. It grows from will, from clarity, from the refusal to apologize for strength. And morality, the soft, noble shoulds that society clings to, is often a tool to tame that strength. Think about it. What happens when someone stops playing by the rules? When they stop asking permission? When they move with force, certainty, and silence? They're labeled dangerous, selfish, uncaring. Because morality is not a universal truth, it's a boundary drawn by those who fear what power can become without it. This doesn't mean Nietzsche admired cruelty. It means he distrusted performance. He saw that most morality is theater, a way to look good without doing the work of transformation. And he believed that the truly powerful are not those who follow the rules, but those who rewrite them. So ask yourself, do you want to be good, or do you want to be real? Because morality without power is theater, and power without self-awareness is tyranny. But power with awareness, that is evolution. There's a story we love to tell, that the best leaders are the most compassionate, that the powerful rise because they care the most, and that if someone leads well, it's because they're good at heart. But Nietzsche saw through this story. He didn't see leaders as saviors. He saw them as players of a deeper, older game, one where morality was a costume, and public virtue was often private ambition in disguise. You don't become powerful because you care more. You become powerful because you understand the game better, because you know when to bend rules, when to hold silence, when to make others feel seen, even if it's not real. Noble leadership is beautiful fiction. It makes us feel safe. But Nietzsche warned that fiction can be more dangerous than lies because we stop questioning it. We assume goodness where there is only strategy. We call someone a hero and never ask who wrote the script. Most powerful people don't need to be noble. They only need you to believe they are. So the real danger isn't that they don't care. It's that you keep thinking they should. The truly powerful don't wait to be liked. They don't soften their edge to fit in. They don't pause to ask if it's okay to rise. They simply move and let the world adjust. Nietzsche understood that strength is not loud, but it is unapologetic. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't seek consensus. It acts, and that's why it disturbs people. Because most of us are trained to wait, to explain, to earn approval before stepping forward. But power doesn't operate on permission. It operates on will. The weak seek rules. The strong seek results. This isn't cruelty. It's clarity. A lion doesn't wait for the jungle to approve its roar. It simply exists in its own nature. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you stopped apologizing for your potential? If you stopped editing your strength to make it more acceptable? The world does not need more agreeable people. It needs people who remember they were not born to beg. Because those who wait to be chosen are rarely chosen, and those who walk without asking become the ones others follow. People don't just become dependent, they're trained to be. Nietzsche observed that most institutions, governments, religions, even corporations, are not designed to make people powerful. They're designed to make people loyal, not because loyalty is noble, but because dependency is control. We're told we need guidance, that someone else knows better, that it's safer to follow than to question, and over time that message becomes a habit. We wait to be led, we wait for permission, we wait to be told who we are. But Nietzsche asked, who benefits from that? The powerful do not depend. They delegate, they decide, they shape the system, while the rest adapt to it. The truth is, the more dependent you are on someone's approval, attention, or permission, the less free you are. And powerful people, those at the top, know this. They don't need you to be strong, they need you to be compliant, grateful, predictable. So if you find yourself always waiting for praise, for direction, for acknowledgement, ask yourself, who taught you to wait? And what would happen if you stopped? Because freedom begins where dependence ends. Not all control looks like force. Sometimes it looks like help, like mentorship, like protection. But Nietzsche knew that the most effective way to dominate others is not to oppress them. It's to convince them that your control is for their own good. Let me guide you, says the powerful voice. Let me show you the right way. And so you follow, not because you're weak, but because the control is dressed in kindness. But Nietzsche warned, kindness without freedom is manipulation. If someone's guidance makes you smaller, it's not wisdom. If their help makes you afraid to question them, it's not leadership, it's ownership. We confuse being helped with being liberated. But liberation doesn't come from someone else's map, it comes from learning how to build your own. The powerful are not always evil, but they are rarely neutral. And when someone says they want to help you, always ask, what do they get if I stay where I am? Because real empowerment gives you the tools to move on. False guidance keeps you close and calls it love. We're taught that pity is compassion, that when someone pities us, it means they care. But Nietzsche saw pity differently, not as virtue but as control wrapped in emotion. To him, pity was a weapon, not always intentional but always disempowering. When someone pities you, they're not lifting you up, they're placing themselves above. It's not, I believe in your strength. It's, I'll protect you because you're weak. And that belief, that you are fragile, that you are broken, that you need someone else to carry your burden, becomes a cage. Nietzsche believed that real strength doesn't pity. It respects. It demands. It sees you not as helpless, but as unfinished, capable of more, if only you were not being softened by someone else's sympathy. So ask yourself, who in your life has comforted you just enough to keep you where you are? Not all kindness liberates. Some of it sedates. If someone pities you, they may not see your potential. They may only see a version of you that makes them feel powerful. And if you're addicted to being pitied, ask, what part of me is afraid of being seen as strong? Because real care doesn't reduce you. It reminds you what you're capable of, even when it hurts. One of the most seductive traps of success is being useful. We love being needed. We love being the one others depend on. But Nietzsche would ask, are you being valued or are you being used? Being useful is not the same as being free. In fact, the more valuable you are to others, the easier it is to lose yourself. Because now your worth is tied to your function. Your identity is built around what you give, not who you are. Powerful people know this. They reward usefulness. They praise your effort. They say you're essential. But the moment you stop being useful, you become invisible. That's the truth most won't say out loud. Your importance is conditional. And if you build your self-worth on what you produce for others, you'll never stop working to be seen. You'll confuse exhaustion with purpose, service with safety, praise with love. Nietzsche's answer? Don't just be useful, be sovereign. Build a self that exists beyond function. Create a life that holds value even when no one's watching. You can help others, but never at the cost of your freedom. Because usefulness will make you admired, but only freedom will make you whole. Society fears the individual, not the person who blends in. not the person who follows orders, but the one who detaches, thinks for themselves, and walks a path that wasn't approved by the herd. Nietzsche called this person the Übermensch, not a perfect human, but a conscious one. Someone who no longer needs validation to move and no longer needs consensus to believe. The herd survives through sameness. It rewards conformity, not originality. And when someone steps out, not with arrogance, but with clarity, the herd doesn't celebrate them, it shames them, attacks them, or worse, pretends they don't exist. Because nothing threatens collective comfort like someone who doesn't need it. Powerful people don't follow the herd, they build something beyond it. And often, they are hated for it. Not because they are wrong, but because they remind everyone else what's possible when you stop living by fear. So ask yourself, are you trying to be accepted, or are you trying to be free? The herd will give you company, but only the individual can give you power. Empathy is powerful, but it can also be a disguise. Nietzsche observed that some of the most influential people don't win through force. They win through emotional influence, through appearing to care even when they don't, through knowing exactly how to look concerned, engaged, sympathetic, all while moving purely by strategy. This is not empathy, it's performance. The mask of empathy is subtle. It's the leader who smiles while cutting ties, the executive who talks about wellness while exploiting labor, the friend who listens closely but never actually sees you. Power doesn't need to feel to function. It only needs to appear human enough to keep people loyal. That's why Nietzsche warned us, don't mistake charm for character. Don't assume kindness means commitment. And don't assume those who know how to speak to your pain are also willing to walk with it. Real empathy doesn't ask for applause. It doesn't sell itself. And it doesn't need to be seen to be real. So the next time someone says, "I understand you," ask yourself, do they really, or do they just know that's what you want to hear? Because a mask can be warm, but it's still a mask. Powerful people rarely say goodbye. They move on, not with cruelty, with indifference. Nietzsche didn't believe the powerful were inherently evil, just efficient. If you serve a purpose, you're visible. When you don't, you disappear. This isn't personal. That's what makes it brutal. The moment you challenge them, you become difficult. The moment you hesitate, you become unreliable. The moment your loyalty fades, so does their memory of you. This is not betrayal. It's design. Power moves where it is served, not where it is sentimental. So ask yourself, who are you in their world? A name? A role? A function? If you stop performing, will they notice? Or will they simply replace you? Nietzsche would tell you, never build your identity in someone else's castle, because when they decide you no longer fit, they won't argue, they won't explain, they'll just lock the door behind you and move on. Real freedom begins when you stop needing to be remembered and start choosing to matter on your own terms. So what do you do with all of this? You stop waiting for someone powerful to care. You stop mistaking pity for help, charm for empathy, applause for love. You stop begging the world to see you. And you start seeing yourself with the eyes you've been waiting for. Nietzsche's message wasn't cruelty, it was honesty. He didn't want you to become heartless. He wanted you to become aware. Because only through awareness can you become free. Reclaiming power doesn't mean dominating others. It means refusing to be dominated by illusions about yourself, about society, about the people you once believed would save you. Real power is quiet. It's not in their hands. It's in your spine, your silence, your refusal to betray yourself just to be accepted. Let them forget you. Let them misunderstand you. You weren't born to be chosen. You were born to choose.